Hello and welcome into Artists in Action's annual Paint and Write the Town event 2024. The images you're seeing are works of art submitted for this year's event by some 16 artists. These are right now on show at Elsinore Framing and Fine Art Gallery, located at 444 Ferry Street, right downtown Salem. The show will remain up to the month of October, and on the first Friday of October, October 4th, there will be an artist reception and awards ceremony beginning at 3 p.m., with the awards ceremony itself at 4:30 p.m. The show comes down on Halloween, October 31st. Paint and Write the Town is Artists in Action's perennial and popular signature summertime event. Artists of all skill levels working in any medium meet to create art in plein air that's interpretive of one or more of the scheduled locations in historic scenic and downtown locations in the Salem area. Poets of the Mid-Valley Poetry Society and others join the artists to write poetry inspired by the various sites. In 2024, the weekly on-site sessions for painting, writing, and creating began on June 1st and continued through August 24th, culminating in this juried exhibition with cash awards during First Friday, October 4th. There were 12 locations for this year, such as Deepwood Museum and Gardens, the Adelman Peony Gardens, Almsville Ponds Country Park, Seabright Gardens, Ankeny Northwest Reserve, Roten Gardens, South, the Teresa Meisner Century Farm in Crabtree, Riverview Park in Independence, Basket Slough, Ankeny Vineyard, Chemeketa Cellars, and on. All wonderful, wonderful, perfect events. The scenic sites were selected and arranged by AIA members Ann Moore and Patricia Young, who hope you found the great inspiration you were looking for at any one of these sites or multiple sites. Now, immediately following the images you see here, you'll be introduced to the 5 poets of this year's event, and one by one they will read aloud the poetry they wrote while visiting the sites. Following the poets, you will watch as Lee Christensen, this year's judge for Paint and Write the Town, as he demonstrates each of his selections for awards. The awards were 3 honorable mentions, followed by 3rd, 2nd, and 1st awards. For much more detailed information about the events, you can go to the Artists in Action website, and that web address is artistsinaction.org. That's artistsinaction.org. You will also be able to find additional information at Elsinore Framing and Fine Art Gallery's website, elsinoregallery.com. Congratulations to this year's award winners. And thank you to Lee Christensen for his expertise in selecting the award winners. And hope to see you all next year when Paint and Write the Town 2025 comes online. You can keep watch of that information by simply going to Artists in Action's website, that's artistsinaction.org, and follow-up information at elsinoregallery.com. Thank you again, and I appreciate your commitment to the arts in Salem.
I'm Eleanor Berry. I'm co-founder and chair of the Mid-Valley Poetry Society. We've participated in Paint and Write the Town for several years now, and I've tried to participate every year. This year I visited 2 sites for writing, and the first site from which I'm going to read a poem is Riverview Park in Independence. Riverview, the park is called, but it offers scant view of the river, which might as well be an alley behind it. Like the shops opposite, the park faces Main Street. In lieu of facade, it sports a fountain. No window display, but on holidays and warm weekends, vendors set up their wares beneath pop-up pavilions. Behind those sidewalk attractions, green lawn slopes down. Weed and feeded, watered, mowed, terraced to form an amphitheater. Alongside, a broad paved path esses between the street and a parking lot below. Beyond the asphalt, a steep bank, neither landscaped nor natural. Not naturalized either, simply overgrown with Himalayan blackberry, dock, hairy vetch, species that thrive in disturbed sites. Below it all, the river runs by, out of sight, except for glimpses through a few bushwhacked breaks in the brambles. The second site from which I wrote this year was Chemeketa Cellars. Interlude. Vineyards tend to offer vistas, and mid-August here tends to mean sun blazing down from flawless cobalt sky. Not this vineyard, not this August day. This vineyard nestles amid oak-wooded hills. Its tasting room patio is ringed with shrubs, mature plantings skillfully pruned into dense globes, loose sprays, a sheltering surround in shades of green, touched here and there with burgundy and gold. The midday light is soft, shadowless. The sky, a torn and shifting fabric of cloud. Soon, of course, it will break open. But for now, you and I sit here at a patio table as if we were part of the scene we observe. Sip glasses of Pinot Gris, share pita chips with hummus, a caprese plate. Everything held for this brief interlude, like a breath.
Hello, I'm Marilyn Johnston, and it's delightful to be part of the Artists in Action, Paint the Town, Write the Town this year. And I thought I'd read 2 of the poems that I submitted for the show. The first one is from my visit to the Adelman's Peony Farm. At Adelman's, like love at first sight without regret, you now stand in the peace of the rows of peonies, like a blessed rain at the end of a long run. Mount Hood tall behind the reds, pale pinks, the lavenders, the light yellow blooms. There, as the late afternoon brilliant blush appears on the mountainside. The catalog you carry home will remind you again and again of their rich names: Topeka Garnet, Cream Puff, Blaze, and Coral Gold. And everywhere hues blend as a painting to the edges of fields. And I forget what it was I was running to or from. And my next poem is probably pretty obvious, but it was based on the visit to the Almsville Pond. Here in Almsville, a sudden breeze blows all that's not tied down as tall grasses wave along the trail around the perimeter of the pond, where we find Oregon grape, false Solomon seal, salsify, poison oak. Water has pulled up to the shore, the sharp grasses eating the lures my husband throws out with his line and never finds again in the weedy below, in his catch and release practice of fishing. Then suddenly a downpour as we walk fast, forever mindful we are only one step away from all we'd expect these days. Even on a sunny afternoon in early June off a 2-lane road in a rural Marion County town that reels us back again and again. Thank you.
It's been a deep pleasure to participate in this summer's Paint and Write the Town project. It's also an honor to read to you these two poems. At the beginning of this first one, I'd like to give you a bit of background. Through the wavy glass of Deepwood's solarium, a placard tells of the first meeting of Edith Scriver and Elizabeth Lord, Northwest landscape architects, between 1929 and 1969. Now here's the poem. Sea Change. I'm not a child, protests Edith of Kingston, New York, assigned to the children's table, likely because she is short. The waiter refuses to pour her wine, nearly spoils the first meal on this transatlantic crossing. Not lacking courage, she makes a fuss, insists on being moved. Edith's new spot, the only open space beside Elizabeth of Salem, Oregon, seems guided by Poseidon's hand. Their halting conversation discovers their shared purpose to study Europe's gardens and to carry home the beauty they see there, then shape it on familiar shores. Together they will paint with greenery and bloom, with light and shadow, as in this glade beside Deepwood. Oaks obscuring the large house, a long rectangle of lawn draws the eye to rest on ocean blue, an urn, the tall shape lifting toward the canopy, its wide and open mouth, breathing, breathing. For this memorial poem, here's some important information. Gregorio Maximiano Solano, age 13, died on July 2nd, 2024. His family had moved to Independence, Oregon for his parents' work, harvesting berries. His father speaks only the language of his Aztec tribe. Now the poem. Gregorio. He is my son, the man said. He was swimming, he said, shaking his head. We can't find him. a waterfall of grief behind his eyes, he looked at the Channel 6 reporter at Riverview Park while the swift Willamette, dark, silent, slipped past, taking Gregorio miles north. Hundreds waited in vigil around a makeshift waterside altar, their candles lighting the night. After 4 days, the boy, the good boy, was found, washed ashore. The altar still clings to the bank's edge, water lapping one glass cylinder lined with soot, fallen, the face of Jesus gazing skyward.
My name is Mike Schuler. I've been participating in Artists in Action's Paint the Town and then Paint and Write the Town for about 8 years. This year, I visited 3 locations, and I will just read 3 poems in the order that they were written. The first was written at Almsville Ponds. The title is Reflection on Almsville Pond. Ducks glide the surface toward the low bank, then crowd from the shallows and waddle to my feet, where they stand waiting to be fed. Sky and shoreline trees painted on the water break in small ripples of chop and lift in breeze, then smooth as wind subsides. Honeybees work yellow trefoil, and dragonflies rest on grass stems mirrored on the water. Oxeye daisies frame blackberry vines along the trail. Laughter echoes from pondside. Insects hum in flight. An occasional bird calls. A fingerling splashes. A shadow of osprey crosses. The second was written as artist choice. This year we had a choice location we could choose, and I chose, since I visited the Oregon Country Fair in Veneta down by Eugene, I thought it would be a great location to write a poem about. And I titled it Carnival. Tributaries of people join in a river coursing through the wood at Oregon Country Fair. Stilt walkers dance to marimba beat, dwarfing jesters working the crowd. Music from stages captures listeners, distracted by dress and undress of others. Spiritual songs drift from a front porch amid drumming and feet thumping earth. Cultures demonstrate crafts and art. Vendors present wares. Makers become teachers. Minstrels and jugglers and acrobats, dragons and fantasy seekers bring fun for all ages. Hippies celebrate a return to nirvana. Beekeepers share nectar. Mimes act out life. A boy smiles on a basket of burritos, cradled tightly to his chest, as it were his own child. The third poem was written from a visit to Basket Slough National Wildlife Refuge. This was written in August, and it represents a slightly different perspective than I was used to from my visits to the wildlife refuge. I titled this one Habitat Change. Haze from wildfires in the mountains cloaks the foothills encircling the valley. Bright beads of traffic glint on the highway at the far edge of the wildlife refuge. In the August sere, beneath blue sky, no deer emerge, and few birds fly. The wetland dry, drained and turned, the channel graded, the stumps uprooted.
My name is Cameron Covey, and the story behind this poem is that I went to the wrong place when I was hosting Paint and Write the Town. And so this poem is a bit of a joke. And the name of my poem is Hosting Paint and Write the Town. For Paint and Write the Town, she said, I must do my part. She signed up for the first, at Deepwood, a start. There was so much online to read, and picture, it was there. I have been to grand old place, I'd know it anywhere. Come the morning of the time, early did she rise, took the signs to help them find, to place them all around. Now she was to work with Bob, and he was to go there. That morning he did call. Hello, where are you? He did ask. She answered just the same, hello. I am in front, said she, and so am I, and so am I, and so am I, said he. And so the talk just went until Bob mentioned that he stood just inside the gate. And that was when she noticed a plaque, but not a gate, Bush House upon it written, not Deepwood, not at all. And kidding was her fate. So off she rushed with Bob to help and grin upon his face, to join the artists who were there at Deepwood in their place. But that was not the end, my friends, for host again she did. She signed up for her favorite place. To Seabright's she did go, and put the sign where no one saw, where no one ever knew. While sitting in the shade with Jean, she mentioned where the sign. But no, it couldn't be that street. It happened way before. They volleyed streets again just so. Where did she put the sign? Trish was to come to get the things, must know the street to roam. Was it this? Was it that? So convinced was she that Trish was never it to find, and back to street went she. It wasn't till she saw the map she recognized her flaw. The sign was put where no one went. It wasn't sign at all. And so, though, yes, well-meaning, a host she not the best, she thought it might behoove her to leave it to the rest.
Hello, my name is Lee Christensen. I'm an artist from Silverton, and I've been asked to judge these works for the Paint and Write the Town show at the Elsinore Gallery for the month of October, I guess. And I'm an artist from Silverton. I do mostly landscapes, not entirely, and I work in oil and watercolor primarily, although I do dabble around in other materials. And I'm not a real prolific painter anymore, but I have been a little bit more in the past, not so much though compared to some of you people. Anyway, I'll get right to it. This is one of the honorable mentions that I really liked. It's by Michelle Myers, excuse me. It's called Adelman Peony Farm, and it's a place that I've been to and bought a few plants there over the years, and it's become quite a big deal. And there's a lot more stuff going on. I was out there this year myself, unfortunately not to do any artwork, but I really like this. It's got really nice composition, and I love the colors, of course. I've got some big peonies growing in my backyard, so one of my favorites. Our next work here is a watercolor by Michelle Myers again. His title is Walls Marine Park in Salem. And I was drawn to this one right away because of the structure and the layout and the way she did the painting. And I thought it was a kind of compelling piece. I didn't even know that little walking bridge was there. So it was kind of a new thing for me. I really enjoyed it. The next one we have here is by D. Hendricks, and it's a watercolor of two pintail ducks, and I think it's at Basket Slough, so it looks like Basket Slough. But I just thought this was a kind of a quiet but really compelling image, and I really liked it as well. This is a painting by Alison Flagmiller. It's called Home on the Farm, Mother and Son. This was another one that I found really compelling, and I couldn't stop coming back to it and looking at it. I'm glad I got a chance to come in today to really see these in person, because it was really hard to make out on my phone when I was looking at all the work. I really like this because I grew up with animals in on the farm that I lived on when I was a kid, and it brought back a lot of memories, and it's really well done. This is D. Hendricks, number 2, and it's called Rosella at Adelman's Peony Gardens. I really like peonies, and not so much that I like peonies, that I just really like the way this one's done, and the colors used in it, and the sky in the background, and how it gets darker at the bottom. I really like that. It's really well done again. Okay, this is a work called Crows Near a Field Fire. I think there was something else for that. I can't remember, but this was another one that when I started looking at the pieces of the show, the works that were submitted for this, when I came across this one, I was really taken by it. And for various different reasons, I guess. I love painting the sky and clouds. So that sort of got my attention right away. Not that some of these other paintings didn't have really compelling images in them. And I also really love birds. So when I saw the crows there, I was kind of stuck on it. Anyway, I kept coming back to this one, and I almost felt guilty in a way, because I just kind of knew when I first saw it, and I thought, well, surely I'll see something else, but it just came back to be number 1. So this is the first place as far as my 2 bits go. Yeah, I really love it. I just wanted to say that even though I thought this was a lot of fun to do this, it was really kind of tough to judge other people's artwork, which I tend to really not do. I think that creating artwork, especially other people, and I've done a lot of workshops and stuff with older people, and I just love it when I see people doing anything that's creating a little bit of artwork, even if it's just a scribble on a thing. If they're enjoying themselves, it gets them into a different headspace, and that's really good. And that's the way it's always been for me. I find little enough time to do my own artwork, let alone all the other stuff I have to do, but the artwork is very special. So what I'm trying to say is I really enjoyed seeing everybody else's artwork for this show. It was all really well done. And so judging and picking out pieces to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or whatever wasn't that easy for me. But I really have loved doing it, because I got to see all your artwork.